be here with you today. I've not been to a California Water Environment Association conference before, so it's a pleasure to be here in San Diego. I have a few slides I'm going to go over with you. I've organized my talk in a couple of theme areas. First is the issue of water, and we know that we're in a time where we don't have enough water. And certainly when there's not enough water, there's not enough wastewater. I'm going to talk about the infrastructure that we use to really deliver the services to our communities. And then I'll talk about the people behind our water, our partnerships, the community we serve, and the staff that provide that service, you all in this room and others that are in this business. So let me focus on the water side. First, a little bit about my agency. We're located in Santa Clara County. We have three main functions: clean, reliable water, which includes groundwater, local source water, and imported water; flood protection, and usually flood protection is a county government function. We're a special district. We have that flood protection function for Santa Clara County. And as we do that work, we want to be respectful of the environment. We want to have our local creeks and ecosystems thrive, much like much of the work that you guys all do. The history of our agency started back in the 1920s, and this is not from the movie Chinatown. These are actual photographs and articles that occurred in the local newspapers at that time. Vote for water or desert, because we had land subsidence due to overpumping of the groundwater, a condition that occurs today in the Central Valley and other parts of our state. San Jose was sinking 4 feet in the last 14 years. Something needed to be done. The voters in Santa Clara County voted to form a conservation district, and then the rest is our history. So over time, we went from what was called the Valley of Heart's Delight to what we are now known today as Silicon Valley, home of Google, eBay, and some of the other high-tech companies that are so familiar to many of you. So who do we serve today in Santa Clara County? Again, we're in the south end of San Francisco Bay. The population of 2 million, 15 cities, a number of well owners that still pump from our groundwater. In fact, half our water that we use in our county is pumped from our groundwater basin. We have 13 local water providers. We're the water wholesaler for Santa Clara County. A little bit of our history shown on this graph for us engineers in the room and non-engineers that are familiar with looking at graphs. Three main lines. First line is the top line is elevation. We had land subsidence about 13 feet over 1915 to 1970. The green line is population growth in Santa Clara County from a valley of largely agriculture to a booming metropolitan area. Blue line is an actual indexed groundwater well over time. So you see what's happened. The groundwater table was falling in the late 1920s. Our agency was formed, local dams were constructed, the groundwater basin rebounded. Then you see what happened after World War II. Groundwater table was falling with growth, with the change in manufacturing in our county. You see the low point in the 1960s. And that coincided with bringing imported water, state water, project water, and Hetch Hetchy water into Santa Clara County. And you see the rebound of the groundwater table. Fast forwarding to the 1980s, our last large drought, the groundwater table was again falling, and we brought in the Central Valley Project, imported water into Santa Clara County, and you see the rebound of the basin. Now we're in our fourth year of drought. You see the groundwater table falling. And so what innovation are we going to be thriving on to help reverse that trend going forward if this drought continues? And I'll talk about that in this talk. Here's a map of Santa Clara County. It doesn't show the highway system, it shows the infrastructure to bring in water into Santa Clara County and to manage water. You see some of the statistics on there: 10 local reservoirs, pumping stations, large water treatment plants, the conveyance system, the large diameter conveyance system that we manage to bring water and distribute it throughout Santa Clara County. Some of our imported water supplies, we get them from Shasta, Lake Orville, and Hetch Hetchy, much of which flows through the Delta and then is delivered into Santa Clara County. You see some of the stats on there. Over half our water supply is imported into Santa Clara County on an annual basis in an average year. 30% is local. Just 5% currently is recycled for non-potable use. We'll hear more about going beyond non-potable. 10% water savings, as we've been able to do with a lot of conversion programs of turf, low-flow toilets, water-efficient washing machines. But we know we have challenges that we're all facing. The growing demands for our services, the uncertainty of our imported water supplies through the Delta, of recurring droughts that we're now becoming more of a constant threat to our livelihood and our economic prosperity, and then climate change that could be something that this may be an anomaly or this really a sign of more things to come. We've seen this, many of you probably seen this chart. It's produced, I think it's updated monthly now, the demand or the drought throughout the state of California. And this is back in March. It's been changed, it's been updated. The areas are not getting any prettier. In fact, more of that dark red is now emerging throughout much of the state. So our water is becoming increasingly scarce. You know, the water supply that we import is only allocated at 20 to 25% of our contract amounts. Our local reservoir storage is about a third of what it should be. Our groundwater basin is being depleted because we've filled that up, as you saw in that earlier chart, and we're drawing upon that in time of need now. We've dropped about 80,000 acre-feet in this last year. And subsidence is still a real threat that could reoccur in Santa Clara County. What that means, it means that the ground would fall, we would have interruptions in those gravity systems that provide the sanitation and the stormwater runoff, and the utilities would be impacted as well as land values. So what are we doing? Many of you have been involved in this too. We've turned to water conservation to really be part of our response to really dealing with this. The governor has been active in it, State Water Resources Control Board and others. Here's what we've been doing, offering many more rebates, turf rebates. And you see on the graph there is some of the rebate programs we've provided for landscape irrigation. Prior to the drought in 2013, very little rebates were being issued. People were not interested. We doubled the rebate to $2 per square foot. You see the rebound in 13 and so forth. It's been pretty astounding. We went from about a couple 100,000 square feet in 2013 to over 1 million square feet of turf converted to low drought-proof landscape irrigation. Some more summary, a lot of outreach to the community. Our slogan was brown is the new green. We provided buckets for the shower for people to use as they wait for the hot water to become available, and then they would use that and use that water for other purposes in the yard. We've had a lot of media attention, which has been helpful to kind of get the word out. Unfortunately, our call for 20% conservation this past year only realized about 13% countywide. So we know there's more that needs to come. So what's our plan for 2015? Much more outreach, rain or shine. We need to keep conserving water. We're coordinating with ACWA, the Association of California Water Agencies, to really get the message up for California. Additional media campaigns, outreach to our community, really trying to raise the public's awareness that they really need to do more to conserve water. We've upped our conservation goal from 20% to 30% Santa Clara County. We also have ways for our community to identify those who are not using water efficiently. So we have ways for people to report, not water cops, but really ways to help people use water better. So you see on the screen are the 4 ways that we let the citizens of Santa Clara County know how they can let us know that we can let those people who are not using water correctly to really change their practice. We do it by calling the old telephones, through email. We have an app that's available to download on our iPhones to allow people to take photos, to connect up to us so that we can in turn help our customers use their water. And I think we know that customers want to use water more efficiently. So that leads to our first pause in this presentation.